Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Unity Radiant Light. This is Sunday, November 10th, 2024. And today, I'm really excited to be celebrating 15 years of community. Unity Radiant Light was born 15 years ago. I'm Reverend Cherie Ruffo. Welcome to this Sunday. And when I think back to, I'm one of the founders of Unity Radiant Light, and I think back to 2009, um, and my experience with Unity and in making the decisions that I did that led to Unity Radiant Light coming into our community. I think back to all the way back to 1989, where I lived in Hawaii and I was a social worker. And on Sundays, I used to go windsurfing. And a friend of mine, um, she said to me one day, who I went windsurfing with, she said, "Hey, can we stop somewhere?" And that was the day we stopped at Unity of Hawaii on the side of Diamond Head Mountain. And I walked into this amazing, amazing community where I felt the love and the acceptance and that it was just a place that I really resonated with. And since then, Unity has been my spiritual home. So in 2007, go forward, I was living in Rhode Island. And at that point, I was looking for a spiritual community again. And we, in Rhode Island at that time, we had a Unity in Newport that was almost an hour away. We had one in Worcester, Massachusetts, Unity of Central Massachusetts, it was a half an hour from my house. So I joined them. And over a couple of years, I was taking classes because I was starting my commitment to become a Unity minister. And in 2009, Unity of Newport closed. And I remember my spiritual mentor, Reverend BJ, time said, "Hey, are you going to go down to Rhode Island and start a Unity?" And I had been preparing to become a children's Unity minister. I hadn't thought about adults. And at first, I'm like, no. And then started talking to people from Rhode Island and around. So in September of 2009, we started meeting around my dining room table in my house and trying to make and deciding to make these decisions. What do we want to have in Rhode Island? What does it look like? And we decided, we have some time. So we got our application together, uh, and we sent it off to Unity Worldwide Ministries on November 9th. And it took about 6 months at that time on average to be able to get approval. So we said, you know what, in the meantime, we can hold a book study, which we started on Monday evenings in Rhode Island, and it's My Health in Cumberland. And we are still going on today, and we still have that same book study. We've read well over 50 books and studied them together, book club, and are really enjoying that. But we have so much more. But the surprise to us came is 3 days later, Unity Worldwide Ministries got back to us and said, "You're approved. You're go." And then at the time, we're like, "Oh my gosh, what do we do?" And Christmas was coming, so we said, "You know what? Let's have a Christmas Eve service and let's have a potluck with it, and let's open like that, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do from there." And we did. We brought our Christmas trees in, we everything. We made a really nice service and a really great potluck, and had people that were interested. So we found the Brooklyn Coffee Tea House in Providence, and starting in January of 2010, we started having weekly services. And over the years, we've grown, we've changed. When Unity Radiant Light was founded, it was during the recession, and so things were a little tougher at that time. In 2012, on December 12th, 2012, we celebrated that this the consciousness shift on the planet. And then, and over the years, we added programs, we added different activities, kids groups, met new people, saw a few people leave, but really kept growing. In 2019, in 2013, we moved to the Old Catholic Church in Providence. We shared space. It was great, wonderful community. And then 2019, they sold the building. So we moved in with St. James Episcopal Church in North Providence, and another wonderful group of people. But we started asking the question. We said, we're 10 years old. What is it that we want to do? What kind of mark? So in 2019, we created this amazing plan. We got together with our community members and said, "Hey, what do we really want to do here?" We signed it. We approved it at a community meeting, membership meeting on January 29th, 2020. And then guess what happened? Right. We had COVID. So everything shifted. So a lot of the things in our plan were held up, but we still knew that our main premise of that plan was to serve our community. And we knew that there were people that were really hurting during COVID, who either were unhoused or they financially they were hit hard. So we made the commitment at Unity Radiant Light to get together. We collected coats and clothes and household items and things and got them out to people. We had a wonderful volunteer, Nicole LaBeouf, who has organized all of this. It was amazing. As a group, we committed to serving meals 1 day a month. And so even during our times when we were social distancing, we were in a kitchen 6 feet apart, coming together, building kits for people for supplies, for things that they needed, and cooking the most delicious meals we could and handing them out. That plan in 2019 and 2020 may have changed, but we knew that that's what we were supposed to do. So fast forward to 2024, we are 15 years old. We have a lot of decisions to make as a community. And today I want to talk about what some of those opportunities might be and where we want to go in this, as we move forward as a community center, spiritual center. So where is Unity Radiant Light headed in the future? Well, that's really up to you, especially if you're a member of Unity Radiant Light, because it's your Unity Radiant Light. It's a group, it's a collective. We need to come together to decide what it is we want to do. So I invite each one of you to explore that with me this year. So we come up with a collective vision for this community of Unity Radiant Light. And once we have that collective vision in our community, we're going to create a plan on how to build what we want to do in this community. We've been looking at this concept. I went to the Eastern Region Conference. It was amazing for Unity. I saw creating a beloved community or beautiful community in action. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that this morning. We're looking at the concept as Unity Radiant Light of what we can do to build this beloved community. So you might be looking at me right now, or maybe even thinking about turning this off, because the question is like, well, how can we do that? Create a beloved community when this country is so divided right now? And I think that where we are is the perfect moment to time, and more important than ever, that we do create beloved communities of compassion and caring, communities where a person knows that they're safe and they're loved. It doesn't matter what the details of each person are. This past week, especially, this is election week here in the United States, and I've been turning off social media because it's gotten so mean. And on the one hand, we have people celebrating this week because of the win in the election. And it's a rough week for other people. Some feel even devastated over what they feel is the loss. It's a rough week for empaths, right? I'm an empath. It's a really rough week. Whew, up, down, like a roller coaster. And because there's so much emotion flowing right now. You can feel people's joy. We can feel their pain. For me, the God part of me, the spirit in me, has been crying all week because so many people have been caught up in this illusion of appearance, of separateness, that we're separate from each other. And maybe this is really about our collective shadows, our mass consciousness. And it's our opportunity to journey together to awaken to the fact that we are not separate, that we are one, that we come from this field of oneness, and that we remember it and we move into it. And that's why at Unity Radiant Light, we're really talking about this concept of creating a beloved community, because that's about oneness. So really, I don't think there's ever been a more fertile ground to explore creating a beloved community. And I had the joy to really experience this year when I went to the Eastern Region Conference in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And I saw a community there, Unity of Palmyra, that really asked that question. What does community mean to you? And we got to see it in full action, full motion. We went to the center on a Wednesday night for a beautiful service and dinner. The collective community there cooked us an amazing meal. And from the time I walked through the doors of Unity Palmyra, I felt the diversity, the inclusivity, accepting, welcoming. It was a safe space for everyone. People are not excluded. And it was a beautiful experience from walking through the front door to seeing this reading, to seeing the reading area. You could borrow a book to read. You can bring in books that you want to share with others, to just feeling really loved while I was there. And I applaud them for it. And as I talked to the senior minister there, she presented this at our conference, and I heard about this, that they've been doing this for 7 years and how amazing it is in bringing people together, getting them excited about coming together instead of being separate. I realized that this is something I really want to look into. So where did this creating a beloved community come from? They often say Martin Luther King introduced it, but he didn't. It's something that was already out there for a long time. But he was one that really popularized it, this term. He said, our goal is to create a beloved community, and this will require qualitative change in our souls, as well as a quantitative change in our lives. And what he was saying is, we're going to have to change to do this. We're going to have to create change. And sometimes that can be really uncomfortable, but it's not a bad thing when you can reach out to a goal such as that. And he described his vision, Martin Luther King Jr. did. He wanted a future where all people are free from discrimination and segregation, and where everyone experiences true justice and equality. King believed that the beloved community was a realistic and achievable goal, and that it would require reform to the systems of law, education, infrastructure, healthcare, and municipal services. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's vision was he wanted to end poverty, hunger, and homelessness. He wanted to replace racism and discrimination with sisterhood and brotherhood. He wanted to resolve international disputes through peaceful conflict resolution. He wanted triumphing of fear over hatred with love and trust. When he first used this phrase, a lot of people thought he was talking about people that felt like they were separate, bringing them together. But that's not what he meant by this. He wanted us to know that justice in this community, this beloved community, is not for anyone oppressed group. It's for all people. So nobody gets left behind in this. We're all invited to the table, to the party. As I saw in Palmyra, nobody's left behind. It allows for different thinking. It allows for, different ideas and different belief systems. And everybody's embraced in this because together we're so much stronger. So some people get really triggered by this because they believe that when we're talking about something like this, that we're talking about them being cut off and other people rising up, because we really live in a system that's been win-lose. And that's not what it was ever meant for. It was to create beautiful community for all people. And he felt that justice, social justice couldn't be parceled out to individuals or groups, but that we had to understand that everybody was equal and celebrate that. So the community that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was talking about is an all-inclusive community by the very definition of beloved, because you can't have a beloved community when it's exclusive. So to make it inclusive, the differences of its members have to be embraced. The concept of all souls celebrating each other. I love this because I think it's in our diversity that we can find change. It's our diversity and our different ideas that we can come together and create ways to heal systems that aren't working well. It's a pretty big task, but it's necessary because we have to care about one another. We are in this super oneness. It's about embracing commonalities instead of the differences. We can find with each person that we do have some common beliefs. And I love what Dr. King said. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So I spent, before I came to Unity and became a minister, I spent 25 years working on this project that I'm still working on today. It's been 25 years that I'm working on it, and literally looking at environmental issues, the cleanup of residential needles and medications. Because right now, if in the late 90s, we were looking at the fact that they were on the beaches and in the garbage and on the playgrounds, and they still are today, unfortunately, more than we would like. But we were looking at cleaning up the environment with that, making it safer, and really dealing with this public health and environmental issues. There were a lot of things that we had to overcome during that time. Because when we first started looking at the issue, people were like, said it's too big, you can't do it. And we have, and we've collected billions of needles. We've collected, and are making a difference. People are wanting to do the right thing. But when my business partners and I started working on this issue, we had approximately 2,500 people a year that were dying of opiate overdose. And this is before this opiate crisis that we're experiencing. And so when we entered the opiate crisis, all that changed. And now we have over 100,000 people in our country die every year from overdose. And well over 1 million people have died so far. It's changing a whole generation of people. So things have shifted for us in this environment. And we're working now very closely with, how do we help get these things off the street safely, so people aren't finding the needles, start finding the medications, aren't using them. And this is something that touches everyone. It's become this company that we started, yes, to help the environment and clean up, is also now something that's really a cause, because it's touched so many people. Almost everyone, you think about it, has been touched by the opioid crisis, either knowing somebody who's lost a family member or knowing someone directly. I know even in my own family, in 2017, we lost my nephew Lee to this. And, November 27th this year is his birthday, and he would have been 40. So yes, it touches very close to this. And the reason I use this as an example is that addiction does not discriminate. It affects all of us, and it claims too many lives. It doesn't matter who you voted for. It doesn't matter what color your skin is, what church you attend, or what your sexuality is. Separately, it's going to continue, this crisis. But together, we can do something about it, and it can end. Nothing's impossible. So the question I put before you today: what are we going to accomplish at Unity Radiant Light for the next 15 years? Will we choose to build this beloved community? What if we start today with just one phrase that we know well from the Bible? Love thy neighbor. Everybody knows that. It's one phrase. We start to think about that. And you might say to me, well, Cherie, have you met my neighbors? I probably have had some just like that. But maybe those are the ones that need the most love, right? But also in our communities, when we talk about a beloved community, can't what are we going to do? Are we going to love our neighbors? I love to take words apart. Just the word neighbor. Nay means near, and born means home base. So these neighbors are near us. They're in our communities. What if we turn that around, that phrase, and we say, from people who live near us to people that we live near? And we think about that. What is it like? What if we have the idea of visiting their home? Even if it means walking around uncomfortable signs in their yard to get to their front door. And sometimes that can be uncomfortable. I remember an incident several years ago in my own parents' yard. We were voting for, different people at the time. And I went to visit them. They live in Arizona, and I was taking their 2 Boston Terriers out to go to the bathroom. And my parents had a big sign in their yard, and they both peed on the sign. And there was a little bit of a conflict in my house, like maybe that I got them to do that, but I didn't, I swear. It was just something that happened. But it's about walking around those signs. It's about looking at the other person because they are a child of God, just like we are. It's about us making that decision, knowing that that light is within them just as much as it's in us. maybe we walk in and we see photos of family members and we feel that joy that we know about our own families. Maybe mementos from trips from places they've taken. That's all good. Maybe we've been to those places too, and we can talk about it because we're looking for the commonalities and not the differences. Maybe these people that walk into our spiritual centers enjoy hobbies, and you might share the love of cooking, gardening, reading, working, crafting. The possibilities are endless. What can we learn from each other? The only way we can do this is if we stop and we think about what a beloved community means. If we're willing to take that first step, to cross that, what we think it's an invisible barrier, to step into that, understanding our awareness of the soup of oneness that we really truly are. So if we're moving through this very difficult time in our communities, in the country, we can't be tribal about it. We can't point fingers and blame each other for our belief systems. We haven't walked a mile in that person's shoes or that community's shoes. And at Unity Radiant Light, we have an opportunity as a community to embrace everyone. And it's okay to disagree on certain things quietly in our community. Think about how boring the world would be if we all believed the same things, if we all practiced the same things, if there was no diversity. So I invite you to think about this in this upcoming week. We're going to be talking more about this next week. Have this question that I'm going to leave you with. Have this scripture that I'm going to leave you with too. Beloved, let us love one another because love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. All of us. Second unity principle. First unity principle is there's one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God the good. The second is that God the good, that one power is in each one of us. That spirit of God is in each one of us. No one's left behind. So we must recognize that in each other. And my question for you this week, and this is a wonderful child's drawing, is my community is. What do you see your community as? What is it to you? And it might be all different things, but just spend some time thinking about that. The other thing you can think about is, what do I want my community to be with? And I'm so glad to be on this journey, to be talking to you about this morning, to be embracing this topic of creating this beloved or beautiful community, a place where we can come together, not be apart, a place where we can truly love one another and accept each other, and where you can come in and feel safe, a place where we can help others, comfort others, really a place of compassion. That's what we're meant to do. So thank you for being on this journey. I'm so excited. We've had 15 years at Unity Radiant Light. Can't wait for the next 15, and it's already begun, to see what we're going to do with it. So namaskar. As we get ready to do our weekly meditation, I would like us to look at the affirmations for the week. And you can say them along with me. And our belief is, with affirmations, when we say it, we believe it, we put our energy into it. So we say it first in a whisper. And then we say it again in a normal voice. And then the third time we say it is with conviction. So I invite you to say this along with me. My life purpose is known by my higher self, and every day it is revealed to me effortlessly with grace and ease. I have clarity that I can see and feel about the purpose of my life. My life purpose is known by my higher self, and every day it is revealed to me effortlessly with grace and ease. I have clarity that I can see and feel about the purpose of my life. And with conviction, my life purpose is known by my higher self, and every day it is revealed to me effortlessly with ease and grace and ease. I have clarity that I can see and feel about the purpose of my life. Now I just invite you to move into meditation. You may close your outer eyes if that's what's comfortable, and take a nice deep breath in all the way down and release any worries and concerns. I'm here to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. If I've done that this morning, I do apologize. But just breathe it out. As we raise our awareness, we think about, we move into meditation. We are doing so today with the prayer for St. Francis. As we say, Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. Let me take a deep breath in on that. As we let go of that mantra, let go of those beautiful words for this prayer for St. Francis. We move into the silence. As we begin to return to the present, there may be realizations or revelations that occur to you. Just tuck those away and think about it with the question, what is it mine to do? What would creating a beloved community look like? As we close, we know this prayer to St. Francis. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. And as we close with prayer today, we do so at Unity, we see it right. We hold these truths. So for the people that we're praying for health, we see every cell in their bodies working in perfect and divine order. For people in areas of the world that need prosperity, we believe that prosperity is in every area of our lives. And we send that idea out. And as we do so, when we feel the relief, we feel that inner joy coming up. That inner joy, that beauty. And we know with that comes peace. And we embrace that. Because the truth is, we come from this field of love. All of us. Nobody's left behind in that. So this soup, this collection of God, we're here to do good, to leave the world a better place than we found it. And we have the opportunity to do that. And I'm so grateful for the Fillmores, who are the founders of Unity, to all the guides, the masters, the teachers, especially to Jesus, our way shower, who came here and modeled what we have the opportunity to become. And it wasn't easy in those times for Jesus. So we say thank you. Thank you for these lessons that are still so available to us. And so it is